to this happy place, welcome.
Hey guys,
Hey.
It's Tim.
Hey.
Welcome to episode 77 of the Dreaming of Disney podcast. It's Tim.
Yes, it is.
I'm with my beautiful wife, Audrey-Ann.
Okay, sure you are. Whatever, I don't know. Remember before you added the Walt Disney part?
Yeah, it was just a song.
It was just the song, and then you came up with that, and it was genius.
Well,
Genius.
I don't mean to brag.
Then don't.
I won't. So the last, kids go back to school tomorrow. This
Yes.
Sunday night. If you're listening to this on Monday, kids are going back to school after holiday break, winter break. So the last 3 weeks, you've been working on a puzzle.
You're already going into the sun.
I'm already going into it.
Not completely. I didn't start it right away. Because I was potty training.
Yes.
I started the middle of that first week.
Yeah.
So it was about 2.5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I am shocked that I finished it in 2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
So I like doing Disney puzzles. I'm not like any type of puzzle person. I like doing Disney puzzles.
Mm-hmm. If
you give me like a cabin, like a snowy cabin puzzle, I will probably lose interest and not do it. But anyways, so we had done over the last, several years, we had done all of our Disney puzzles. So I was like, I'm going to get some more because I hadn't done any since.
Correction, you have done all the Disney puzzles.
When I say we, I meant like mainly me, but like Noah would help me a bit.
I don't I lose interest very quickly.
I guess I started like before the pandemic, and then you bought me some more during, and I did it. But since Georgia was born, I haven't, just because it's like, when am I going to sit and do this? And then it's like she could mess it up, and I just haven't done one. So a couple weeks ago, I was like, I feel like doing one in the winter. I always feel like doing it, And so then I saw this one, but we have done them all. So I found this one on Amazon that was 2,000 pieces. I normally just do 500.
Yeah.
It's 2,000 pieces. And it was Disney 100. So it's like a collage of a bunch of different Disney movies, a bunch of different Thomas Kincaid Disney puzzles.
Yeah.
So, and the first day I pulled it out, it took me all day. Now, when I say that, I mean like here and there, because at the time the 3 boys were sick. I was like day 4 or 5 into potty training. So it's not like I was sitting for long periods of time, but it took me all day just to sort through all of the pieces and take all of the edge pieces out. That took me an entire day.
Yeah.
Like sitting here and there for a few minutes, just like sorting through pieces. And so I was like, there's no way I'm going to finish this during winter break. Like there's no way. But I did.
You did it. It took up probably 3/4 of our kitchen, our dining room table.
There was a day where my sister was over and she helped quite a bit. Like we spent most of the day working.
And our evenings were consisted of me on the couch watching Netflix, and then you at the kitchen table
watching Netflix and doing my puzzle.
But watching two separate things,
separate Netflix shows.
There was this reel that you shared with me. It was like wives who want their husbands in their space, but not in their space.
It said like, my wife is semi-clingy. She wants me. What was it? Now but it was like 100% me. Like I want you near me, but I don't want to like cuddle.
Yeah. You don't want me touching you.
No, don't touch me. But sometimes I feel like cuddling, but a lot of times I want.
Just need to be in the same room, but we could be doing two completely different things. My wife's toxic trait is she is semi-clingy. She likes her space, but she wants me in her space while she has her space, if that makes sense.
Exactly. It makes perfect 100%. Like, yes, that's exactly. Yeah.
So I'm in your space, but I'm not in your space. And you have your space. So that was our evenings for the past, 2 weeks. So a few days ago, you made great progress.
I did. So I was almost done, like getting to the point where I didn't have that many pieces left. And I was actually sorting by shape because I was like, I can see the shapes. Like I just had holes throughout it. And I was getting nervous because one review on Amazon said, we were so frustrated. Like, this is a great puzzle, but it was so frustrating because we were missing about 50 pieces. And I was like, that would be so annoying. So I can tell that I'm not missing 50 pieces. Mm-hmm. But it was down to like, a certain shape. And I only had 4 of this shape. And there was this one spot and the Pocahontas one. And it was that shape and none of those fit. And I was like, dang it. Like, I'm missing a piece. And I was so careful every night, like carefully covering it up and putting like boxes and books on it so our cats wouldn't like run across the table and knock it over, because that's happened in the past with a finished puzzle, Mickey head shaped puzzle, which is very difficult. But
there was one night where I heard the cats going crazy.
Oh my gosh.
And
you jumped up so fast, like someone was breaking into our home.
And I thought they were on the kitchen table knocking things over. And so, I jumped up and I was like, no.
Way quicker than me. He cares about this puzzle just because I care about this puzzle. He has no interest in doing it.
No, but I know how important these things are to you. So
important to me.
Well,
it's
not
just
important,
like
but
it's a hobby. It's a winter hobby.
You have feelings about these things, and I
have feelings,
and I don't like it when you get upset about these things.
I like upset. You're just thinking about the time that I finished the Mickey head puzzle, which took me a long time. That was a hard one. It was 1,000 pieces shaped like a Mickey head, so it's round. That was hard. And then when I was completely done with it, our cat knocked it off the table. And I was very mad.
Safe
Other
to say
than that, I don't know
that
what
cat is no longer living.
No, he's right in front of me.
Yeah,
but what other feelings do I have about this? Like that's what you're thinking of.
I guess
I got so mad. I was so mad.
But still.
But anyways, it's not like I'm like competing in puzzle. I'm like Winston Bishop. I get a little weird when I do puzzles. Okay. So anyways.
New girl reference.
Anyways. So I get down to it and none of those pieces fit. And then I finish everything and there's this hole.
One piece.
And I was like, that probably wasn't
1,999 pieces.
I'm like, that probably wasn't their mistake. If it was a couple of pieces, I'd be like, okay, that was their mistake. But this is just one piece. I was so careful. I'm looking all over and I'm like, oh my gosh, should I vacuum it up? I feel like I would have noticed that. I've been so careful. And you the next day moved the couch and moved all the stuff to try to find it. You couldn't find it. And I was kind of like, whatever. It was really irritating, but it was just like, whatever. You looked up how to create a puzzle piece and tracing it with a piece of paper and then tracing that onto a piece of cardboard and cutting it out and then blowing up the image, cutting that out, gluing it to the cardboard.
So I got to the point where I got the cardboard piece, the fit. So it fit in there and dinner, needed to make dinner, so I didn't get to the picture part, but I got the cardboard piece in there. Yeah.
And then I was cold and I put on my sweater, I put on my hoodie, and I will often find things around the house or like in the laundry room and I'll put them in my pocket, like Legos. It's usually Legos. And I'll just put it in my pocket when I'm cleaning the floors or whatever. And so I put my hands in my front pocket. And they were in there for a little, like I had done that earlier and I didn't notice anything in my pocket. And then my hands are in my pocket and I feel a Lego piece. And then I'm like, wait, what's this next to this Lego piece? And I pull it out and it was that piece. It was the puzzle piece. And I have no memory of that. Like I don't remember finding it somewhere and putting it in my pocket. And it was like a pullover hoodie. Like, it's not like it would have just fallen in my pocket. Like I put it in there and I'm like, But why? If I found it under the table, I would have just put it on the table. So I wonder if it like, oh wait, it's coming back to me. Vaguely. It was stuck to my foot. I think it was stuck to my foot or my pants or something, and it fell off in the kitchen.
Huh.
And I was making her lunch.
Oh, and so you were just busy. You're like, I'm just going to put this in my
and
pocket.
I put it in my pocket.
And then
That's
you forgot
a
about
vague
it.
memory, but then I also feel like that was a Lego.
Maybe
Did
it was
she
both.
put it in my pocket? Did Georgia put it in my pocket?
Maybe.
Maybe Georgia put it in my pocket when she was like sitting at the table with me, because I'm like, it's just weird. I don't know why I wouldn't have knowing me and how I was with the puzzle, I would have just walked it over and put it on the table. So I'm wondering, like, did she put it in my pocket? I don't know. But anyways, we found it. The puzzle is complete.
It's complete. I mean, and
I
was ready.
I had no idea. Like, I didn't even realize when I was feeling it in my pocket what it was until I saw it. Like, until I pulled it out. And it's not like I was like, oh my gosh, that feels like a puzzle piece. Because why would there be a puzzle piece in my pocket? I was like, what is that? And I pulled it out. I was like, oh my gosh.
I'm just glad that you found it before I went any further.
And yeah, like did things in Photoshop.
Because I was about to pull out all my graphic design skills. I was going to blow. I scanned the picture of the puzzle, and I was going to bring that into the computer. I was going to blow it up to the size that it was supposed to be.
I also want to say,
print out
I
that
did not
section.
ask you to do any of this.
No, I wanted to.
You were just doing it for me, which is very sweet. But I'm not that. I was never going to ask you to do that. Like, I'm not that serious about the puzzle. You're making me sound like a crazy puzzle person.
Well,
I am not.
No, you're not.
I haven't done a puzzle. I mean, I did one like before this, but I hadn't done one in years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're all going through a lot. I think it's time we do a puzzle.
It's time to do a puzzle.
Time to do a puzzle.
Do some puzzling. No, what was that?
I don't know. Anywho, that was our funny little story today.
Should we actually go check what that
Nah.
was? Okay.
The cat just knocked over something.
Something fell over in the laundry room, but it is what it is. So it's winter. And what does it do in the winter? It rains.
Yes. Here. Yes. Sometimes.
Hasn't rained a whole lot this winter so
right?
far.
Isn't it supposed to be
California?
like an El Nino year here?
It's
like,
supposed to. I mean, it didn't really start raining last year until mid-January, and then didn't stop through April.
Got a lot of rain. Which April showers.
April showers bring May flowers. So one thing, that happens in Southern California also happens a lot in Florida too, in Orlando.
Yeah.
It rains when you go to Disneyland or Disney World, and sometimes people may be upset about that.
Right.
And
well,
I mean, it is frustrating.
I feel like we probably were the first time.
Yeah. But once you learn to embrace the rain at a Disney park,
just go with it, man.
It actually is pretty amazing because
I don't know if I'd say amazing.
Not amazing, but it ends up being a good time. We've had some really good trips.
We've had some really fun times in the rain. Yes.
And as long as you come prepared for the rain,
yes,
it's a good time because it keeps the locals away and wait times are low. I mean, we've gone when it's raining when it just seemed like dead.
I do want to preface that though, or not preface, but say that was years ago.
It was years ago.
Like, we haven't been in the rain in a long time.
Yeah.
And I think the trip you're thinking of was like the Frozen.
I guess it was.
It rained a lot.
It did rain. It was cold and it rained a lot.
It rained a lot. That was 10 years ago.
That was 10 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Wait.
Yeah, it was 10 years ago because Frozen came out 10 years ago.
Frozen came out 10 years ago. Maybe it was 9 years ago. Noah was about a year and a half, almost 2 and he's almost 11. So that would have been 9 years ago.
9 years ago.
Because he wasn't almost 1. He was almost 2. So I think it was 9 years ago.
Oh, I feel so old. But anyways, whether you're going to Disneyland, whether you're going to Disney World, being prepared for the rain, if you're going to Disneyland, rainy season in California usually starts in October, really picks up January through parts of April, beginning of April. And then for Florida and Orlando, it's kind of like all year round.
We have no idea.
A lot during the summer because it's more tropical climate there. But we're going to focus a little bit more on Disneyland. So here are some rainy day tips for going to the Disney park. And these could probably go either
park.
Either park.
I mean, we're not as familiar with Disney World, so
I would just preface that it's colder in California than it is in Florida, which a lot of people may not realize.
Yeah.
But it rains. The rain is a lot colder in California than it is in Florida. So
at least that we know of.
Yeah. But I mean, when
I don't like talking like
we know,
things,
no,
like
I know.
for fact, like saying things like it's a fact when we don't know, and someone else could be like, that's not true. So I just like to say, in our opinion, or in what we have seen.
What we have experienced.
Yes, our experience. There we go.
But so first tip: bring your own rain gear. Mm-hmm. Come prepared.
Yes, prepare.
Part of that is obviously looking at the weather forecast before you go.
Yeah.
I like using the AccuWeather app only because it allows you to see 45 days out. So,
which granted, that could be a lot of change.
Yeah, I want to preface that you really don't get a solid forecast until anywhere to 5 to 6 days before.
Yeah.
So 45 days out is really far, but it starts to give you an idea of what to expect.
Yeah.
So I start checking that, almost like weekly as you get closer, especially if you're going in the winter months at Disneyland. And so if you start seeing chances of rain pop up, be prepared to bring your own rain gear.
Yeah.
Parts of that is don't buy the rain gear at Disneyland.
Yeah. Like
because
the
it's
ponchos,
super expensive.
It's expensive. We have a few, or actually we only have one left. There was one year where we got caught in the rain. We saw that they were selling ponchos. We were like, hey, that's a good idea. And so we bought some because we didn't have any, and they were better quality than like
for sure
dollar store ones. Like they lasted us like 9 years. We still have one. I think we got 2.
Yeah, we got 2.
3?
One of them ripped.
One of them ripped just this last year, so it lasted us a long time. And we would take them even in the summer for
Splash Mountain.
Yeah, like because not all of our kids wanted to get wet. And sometimes I didn't want to get wet, honestly. It's like sometimes I wanted to get wet on those rides, and then sometimes I really didn't feel like getting wet on the rides. So
yeah.
But so we got a lot of use out of them, yes. But they're expensive. And you can get ones on Amazon that have pockets and zippers and nicer ones, or you could go, the cheap route and do the dollar store and get like a pack and just go. We did that for Florida. We took our nice ones, and then I bought like a pack on Amazon, and they kept ripping, but it was like, I got, a bunch on Amazon for like $5. I got like 10 for 5 or something like that,
Yeah. They're super cheap.
And just took them. Also, if you don't have a, like a stroller cover, like a rain cover, I mean, you could get one if you see that it's going to rain, and I'm sure they have them on Amazon and they're not too expensive. But if you don't want to buy one, a poncho works.
Yeah.
Like we've done that where, we went in to watch a show and we came out, and thankfully we thought of putting the poncho over the stroller because there was just puddles
Yeah.
all over. So it's good to cover your stroller. If you don't want to buy a stroller cover, which I don't have, I just use a poncho and cover the stroller.
Yeah. And it
So
helps when
that's
you're
another use for the poncho. But yeah, Amazon has, like nicer ones and then super cheap ones. So you can, whatever you want. And they have kid size ones. And
another thing that I've seen pop up that we haven't used, but I've seen these become more popular, are rain covers for shoes. They're like ponchos for your feet.
yeah, and they have them on Amazon, and they're like, I was just looking, and there's ones that are like come up high, like if you don't want to get your jeans or your pants wet.
Yeah.
And then there's ones that would just cover your, they hit like at your ankle. I would always get or bring our kids rain boots. Yeah, they're big and bulky, and it was more things to pack. But especially when they were little, like our boys now, well, I would have to buy out. No one has rain boots that fit except Georgia. But it was so worth it. Like it was so worth packing like the bulky rain boots for the day. And at the time they were little, so they weren't walking much. So obviously rain boots aren't super comfortable to walk in, but I've worn my rain boots all day in the park and it didn't bother my feet that much.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure walking shoes would have been more comfortable, but my feet weren't aching that much. And it was just so nice not to worry about getting wet.
Yeah.
Like my pants didn't get wet. So if you have rain boots, if you're flying, I understand like they're bulky. Maybe you want to go with the shoe covers on Amazon, but if you can pack and you have them, I think it's worth it. Especially if your kids are like in strollers. So you're not worried about them needing like good walking shoes. But then I don't know. We have kids also, a couple of our kids hate when their clothes are wet. Hate it. So it was 100% worth it. Instead of them throwing a fit all day and not letting it go, that their clothes are a little bit wet, like rain boots. But I'm kind of interested in these shoe covers for when we go, because I'm like, I got new tennis shoes for, well, I'll wear them Disneyland and Disney World, and I'm like, I don't really want to take, like, if it rains when we're in Florida, I'm like, I don't really want to take my rain boots because we're flying and they're bulky. So I'm like, if it's raining like a lot, would I want to wear these? Because here's another tip I have. It's something that I have to do. You can't worry about what you look like.
No.
I don't know if it's I'm a woman. I'm a what, I can't think of a better term, like girly girl.
Yeah. You want to look cute.
I'm cute. I just want to feel nice. I don't. But I remember that one of the first times it rained and it was like, I don't care. No one looks good. Yeah. And when I like let go of like.
Same thing when it's, 100 degrees outside.
Yeah. Everybody's sweaty. Every woman's hair looks sweaty and is now up in a bun or a ponytail. Like, what do I care? Just have fun. Yeah. So it's like the same thing with rain. I remember being like, my hair's getting all wet. And if my hair gets wet, it gets like frizzy and bleh. And I'm like, who cares? Put my hair up, put a poncho on. Like, you just have to let it go and just have fun. Yeah. Like, you're going to get wet. You're probably going to look like trash. But guess what? Everybody else does too. Yeah. Nobody cares. So that's what I'm thinking with the shoe covers. Because I'm looking at them, I'm like, those are so ugly. But I'm like, okay, if there's like an hour of a torrential downpour when we're in Florida, would I care? Or would I care if my shoes were wet the rest of the day? So I'm like, the kids, I don't think I could get our kids to wear them.
No.
Especially our oldest. He cares
about what he looks like. He's a teenager.
Yeah. So like, I don't think I get him to wear them. The younger two boys, maybe. Yeah. But I'm like, that's not a bad idea. And some of these I'm going to share with your family because your family's coming and they haven't been.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least not in a very long time.
Not a long time.
So if there's a chance of it raining when we go, we'll see. But I'm going to share these things with them because it just makes it more like, yeah, you might not look super cute, but it's going to be a more enjoyable day
For sure.
if you're not soaking wet.
Yeah.
Like just give in.
Yeah. And kind of going off of that, no, don't be afraid to bring extra pairs of socks, clothes, or whatever, in case you do get wet. You know, especially with your kids. You know, our kids hate when their socks get wet, and
Who
so
does? Like, it's not enjoyable. So like, bring an extra pair of socks for everyone. Throw it in your backpack, your backpack.
And if you don't want to carry all this stuff with you, there's lockers.
Yeah.
You can get lockers. There's lockers in the Esplanade area before you get into the parks. There's lockers inside the parks.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you can get those things in there. Maybe it's supposed to rain later in the day, or maybe it rained earlier in the day and now it's not raining anymore. You can put your ponchos and all your wet stuff in the locker, so you're not carrying them the whole day.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's that if you want to use those.
Yeah.
So now it's raining and you're like, okay, now what do we do? Well, some rides keep going. Some rides stop, obviously, because of the rain.
Right.
So,
like Incredicoaster, I think Grizzly River Run.
No, I think those still go.
Not Incredicoaster.
No, Grizzly River Run.
Oh, Grizzly River Run.
Keeps going.
Big Thunder stops.
Racers
stops. I think like Astro Orbiters maybe. So, you know, ones that are outdoors, maybe a little faster. I don't know about Jungle Cruise.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, at those times, you know, there's shows that you could do. There's in California Adventure, there's like the animation building. You can do activities in there.
I was thinking too, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, because it's a longer queue and it's all indoor.
It's all inside.
And it's an enjoyable queue. So if you're like, oh, what are we going to do? You know, it's a longer wait, but like it's a cool queue.
Yeah.
And it's all indoors.
Yeah.
So that's a good one.
Yeah. And there's Mickey's PhilharMagic Magic. That's, I think, all indoors too.
Yeah.
The line.
There's not really a line. You kind of gather in a room.
Yeah, kind of gather in a room. So, I mean, and you know, there's rides too that are in a lot of the rides are indoors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Disneyland is just a lot of the lines are outside.
Yeah.
So you might be in risk of getting wet in line, but you know,
that's where it's like if there's a dry period, if you're like checking the weather, you know, you're like, hey, it's not raining. Like, hey, let's go do Big Thunder. Let's go do because it's going to rain in a few hours. Like, you know, just kind of planning more than you would probably need to on a date where it's not raining. Like, hey, it's supposed to rain this afternoon, so let's get like some of these rides that might shut down done. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe it's a good time to get a snack, or maybe you're eating lunch or it's time for dinner.
Yeah.
You know, go eat, you know,
take your time, relax.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, you know, there's also just embracing it.
I already talked about that.
I know you already kind of talked about that. I think we have gone on Incredicoaster when it's raining. That's not enjoyable.
I don't think I have.
I have when it's drizzling.
I was in line when it got shut down.
Yeah, you were in line.
I was in line. And I didn't. You had the stroller. You took the kids. You had the stroller.
That's right. I was waiting over at Ghirardelli.
I was going to meet you over at Ghirardelli because we were doing single riders when the boys were all real little. And I'm in line. I had my coat, but I didn't have an umbrella.
Yeah.
And it starts just
torrential
downpouring. And so they shut down the ride. So we all had to leave. But then I had to walk from Incredicoaster over to Ghirardelli with it just like pouring. I didn't have anything, just my coat, which had a hood, but like it wasn't like a waterproof coat. So that's another thing. I know they have, you know, like smaller umbrellas on Amazon, you know?
Yeah.
Get a couple of those, put them in your backpacks. Ponchos are easier, you know, but it's nice to have an umbrella, you know. And if I would have had my backpack with an umbrella, I didn't have my poncho. So yeah, maybe when it's just like kind of drizzling, they let it go, but it started like pouring. So they shut it down. Mm-hmm. Or like in Disney World, when we were in Epcot and going on, test track, mm-hmm. it was like coming and going. Yeah. And so we kept wondering like, cause they shut it down if it rains because of the part that's outside. And we like barely made it. I remember because it was like mm-hmm. starting to drizzle and then it would stop starting to drizzle. And then it started raining like right after we were done. And, so yeah, I'm sure Florida, like California, it's not as unpredictable mm-hmm. and it's also not year round.
Yeah.
Like
it's just during the winter.
So Florida, I feel like you need to be prepared no matter when you go. Like when we went in August, like before our trip was when we were going to go, mm-hmm. I had already ordered like ponchos and stuff. Because in August, it's like, it might rain a lot. And then now we're going in February and I'm like, I'm going to bring ponchos
for sure.
and probably these shoe covers. And, because it seems like more of a year-round thing. We're in California. Mm-hmm. It's not. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's like try not to let it ruin your trip, especially because there's nothing you can do about it. It would be so disappointing if you're planning this trip for like a year or even more, and then you get there and you're like, it's supposed to rain. It isn't going to ruin your trip. It's going to be different, but like, if you are prepared, it doesn't have to ruin it.
For sure.
Like we have had tons of fun
mm-hmm.
in the rain. You're not able to just slowly stroll as much. Yeah. But also in California, it's very rare that it's going to be raining without a let up from morning to night. Like it happens, but.
And if it does, it's not like rain that like in Florida where it's torrential, where it like comes down.
I mean, it can be.
It can be, but it's more of a steady. It happens, but typically rain in California is much more steady and light to moderate.
Right. It's not like extremes.
Yeah.
But you never know.
You never know.
So don't get mad at us if you come and it's just like crazy torrential downpour and then sunny. And then the next minute it's torrential downpour. I don't control the weather. I'm just telling you what I've experienced from living here my entire life.
Also something to keep in mind.
Most of my life.
When it rains.
The majority of my
when it rains, they do cancel parades.
Yes, and fireworks.
And fireworks. Yeah. World of Color is rain or shine.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I get that it's on the water, but wouldn't the water hitting the water change the picture?
Maybe a little bit, but
And who really wants to stand there in the rain? I mean, if you're up close at World of Color, mm-hmm. you get wet.
For sure.
It's like the 18th time you've said for sure.
For sure.
You know, I didn't realize how much you said that until the pandemic when you started working from home and I'd hear you on conversation, work phone calls. I'm like, oh my gosh, he says for sure, like every other sentence.
Yeah, I know.
You say it a lot.
I do.
It's okay. I'm just, anyways.
Go on. World of Color.
World of Color, you get wet if you're in the front sections.
Mm-hmm.
But like standing there in the rain and like trying to look up and see if it's raining.
That doesn't sound fun.
Wouldn't be enjoyable.
No.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I just remembered something.
What?
This is totally off the subject though.
Okay.
Because we were talking about our Disney World trip and how Hollywood Studios was going to be just half a day. But then we realized that they have Fantasmic.
Yes.
And we do not have it back yet. And you heard that it might be different.
It is different.
It is different than it is here.
And it's also in its
amphitheater.
It's in its own theater.
And so
yeah.
we're like, shoot. Because we want to see it, but we're only going for the morning. And then that night, I believe we're going back to Disneyland or Disneyland. Magic Kingdom because it's
we're flying across the country.
Magic Kingdom that night because it's our last night.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out what to do. I just remembered this because I was thinking, I wonder about Fantasmic wanting to be in the rain.
Unless we just park hop
one day
and be like, let's go in the evening to do
But
Fantasmic.
we want to do boardwalk. Okay. Anyways,
I know.
Sorry, that's off the subject. We'll talk about it in another episode.
Just have to wait and see what we do.
I just remembered that. But yeah, so just bullet points. Prepare. Ponchos.
Look ahead.
Just go with it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to ruin your trip.
Because does get cold when it rains in California.
Yes, in the
It's
evening.
It's not a warm rain.
No, it'll most likely be cold. If you have little kids, definitely extra socks, probably extra pants.
Mm-hmm.
Just prepare. I just think we talk about that a lot with tips for kids, but also for adults, because it's like you could be miserable the whole day if your socks are wet. Or you could buy those shoe covers and not be miserable for the rest of the day and bring an extra pair of socks. And if you're just, prepare just a little bit, it can make such a huge difference. What?
I almost said for sure. Definitely.
I don't want to make you paranoid, but I think about this because I know I talk about this all the time with you, but like when I was little, you spontaneously took a trip to the beach. My mom did not prepare. Just a day trip.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not have extra clothes. We didn't have towels. We didn't have bathing suits. We just were like, get in the car. Let's go to the beach for the day. We play in the ocean. I fall in the ocean. I got caught in a riptide, actually, and my brother had to save me. But I was drenched.
Mm-hmm.
Sand
everywhere.
Had nothing.
It's coarse.
Oh my gosh.
Gets everywhere.
So I hate sand. Oh my gosh. I'm disappointed in myself that I know what that's from.
Good old Hayden Christensen.
Oh my gosh.
Anakin Skywalker.
Such a good actor.
Go ahead.
And I think we must have had some kind of blanket in the car. So I was like 8 or so. So I had to drive home 3 hours, wrapped naked in a blanket. And I remember having to go to the bathroom and we stopped at a McDonald's or something, but I couldn't go inside because I didn't have any clothes. My mom just didn't think it through.
Yeah.
So as a mom, whenever we go anywhere, even if it's just for a day and it's just a little thing, I try.
You come prepared for all scenarios.
Bring socks, bring underwear, because it's a little extra work. But my kids won't have the memory of having to drive home naked in the car, sand everywhere, wrapped in a blanket. And my brother was like, Mom, she has to put some clothes on.
So moral of the story.
Have any clothes.
Moral of the story.
Don't go to the beach with my mom.
No. If you go to Disneyland and you aren't prepared for rain, you may be driving home naked. That's the moral of the story. So don't be like Audrey-Ann.
It wasn't me. It was 8, maybe 9. Anyways, just a little preparation. That was a huge what would that be called? Just this
traumatic.
It wasn't traumatic. It was a great day. I remember having although I do remember crying a lot.
Except for that coarse sand that got everywhere.
But the core memory that shaped the mother that I am.
Mm-hmm.
It really did.
Yeah.
It really did. Because I always think of that. Anytime we go anywhere, I'm like, all right, just bring it. Just bring some towels, bring some blankets, bring some underwear.
Yeah, whenever we go to the beach, you come fully prepared.
Yes.
You bring the baby powder to get all the sand off and multiple sets of clothes for everybody.
Yeah.
Including me.
I don't pack for you.
No, you don't. I pack for myself.
Yeah.
I'm a grown man.
Because I have enough to pack for. But anyways, that's it. We're done.
So
there's not a whole lot.
No.
But just those few things.
Common sense, really.
Do an Amazon order. Shoe covers, ponchos, maybe some little travel umbrellas. You'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be okay.
I also saw a tip online about taking a trash bag and lining the inside of your backpack. Because not all backpacks are waterproof.
Okay. Yeah, mine.
So lining the inside of your backpack with a trash bag keeps things dry on the inside. So something to think about.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, a little DIY.
Yeah. So there you go. There's our tips for rainy days. They can be fun. Enjoy.
Mm-hmm. And if you like these tips, if you like what you're listening to, we have lots of new listeners lately.
Hello.
Leave us a review. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. We appreciate it. If you listen on Spotify, hit those 5 stars. We appreciate that too. And while you're at it, follow us on Instagram at dreaming.of.disney.podcast.
That's us.
That's where we are. So
And
thanks.
follow along. See if it rains when we go to Disneyland in a month.
See if we come prepared.
Yeah.
See if we take our own advice.
Oh, I will.
Oh, you know we will. Anyways, thanks for listening to Dreaming of Disney podcast. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.